At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá, ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá, ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Never know kẹjọ kẹtọ wa ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa never know kẹjọ kẹtọ wa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, Alan. I'm gonna get to that. Before we get started, guys, please hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. It is a rainy day here in Atlanta. I don't like the rain. I don't. I just like sunny days. That's what I like. I like sunny, hot days. But it's pouring here in Atlanta. The weather has dropped, but good news is it could be worse and it's going to warm up next week. So I'm happy about that. Couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to Sierra Leone. Well, I'm hosting a group, Sierra Leone. Citizenship is back on. So the good news is citizenship is back on in Sierra Leone. All right. It was kind of on the rocks for a minute. No passports were given last year, but the passports are coming back with a few tweaks and changes, some for the good, some you might consider to be an inconvenience, but it is what it is. It's the rules. It is what it is. So with that being said, April 20th through May 4th is the window for Sierra Leone. All right. Everything's the same except for two changes. The good news is Sierra Leone is now accepting more DNA companies as proof as lineage. So now you can use Ancestry.com, 23andMe, and CRI. At first, it was just strictly African ancestry. But now you can do, of course, still African ancestry, but CRI, 23andMe, and Ancestry.com. The only caveat is you have to come twice. All right, you have to come twice. Meaning, and you have to wait a year. Basically, you have to wait a year. So when you come in April, you won't get your passport to next April of 2026. You come in December, you're not going to get your passport to December of 2026. So how it works, you got to come twice. And the process, the previous process in regards to coming and leaving within 2 weeks with a passport, those days are over. So you got to come twice. All right. So you come in April, you get your passport. Next April, come in December, you get your passport next December. So for the most part, you have to wait a year. And every April and December are going to be the trips / confirmants. Again, every April and December are going to be the trips / confirmants, except for this April. But this upcoming December, the group who came in November of 2024, you will be getting your passports this upcoming December. So those are the changes. Please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa to learn more. Also, we are rolling to the Oshun Festival in Nigeria, August 3rd to the 12th. We are also going to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival, but that trip is filled. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Thank you all. The Senegal trip is filled. Then we're going to Zanzibar in September for Safari Blue. And then we are rolling to Namibia and South Africa. I have like 4 spots left for that. That is in November. So we're doing 2 countries in one. Then we're going back to Sierra Leone in December. So that's where we're at. Please visit donfo.africa to learn more. Let's jump into today's topic. Oh, guys, I might have to take a call in 30 minutes. But I'll put the link in the chat room. You guys can call in and I'll just step away. But that won't be for till another 30 minutes. Eric Adams charges are dropped. I predicted this. I said that his charges will be dropped. And the only reason why he was charged is because he challenged Sleepy Joe Biden's immigration policies, which were affecting people in New York, the citizens of New York. So he publicly calls out Sleepy Joe. And then all of a sudden, Sleepy Joe sends his DOJ to indict him. All because he called him out on his immigration policies, which were affecting New York payers, New York's taxpayers, their dollars. And some of and what was going on was ridiculous. Like they were staying at the Roosevelt Hotel. I guess the food they were given wasn't good enough, so they got like debit cards. It was crazy. It was crazy. But what's interesting, you have many Black people who are upset that his charges are dropped. Now, these are the same Black people who will complain about how the system is unfair against Black and brown peoples. They'll complain about how the white man has weaponized the system against Black and brown peoples. So a Black man's charges are now dropped and you are mad. I don't get it. I don't get it. A Black man gets his charges dropped. And now Black folks are upset and saying that his charges shouldn't have been dropped. And this goes all the way back to when Joe Biden ran for office in 2016. You had the 94 crime bill. I remember Black folks saying how the 94 crime bill was an example of systematic racism, how the white man could carry cocaine, get caught with cocaine, he gets slapped in the wrist, but the Black man gets caught with crack cocaine, he goes to jail. I was told that the 3 strikes law was racist and white supremacy at work. All of a sudden, when Joe Biden runs for office, for president, and people start bringing up the 94 crime bill, here comes the likes of, I'll give you an example, Ava DuVernay, I believe her name is, the director. Well, the 94 crime bill wasn't that bad. Here comes all these articles all of a sudden saying that the 94 crime bill wasn't that bad. It was a mistake. We didn't know what to do. It wasn't really white supremacy. It wasn't really racism. All of a sudden, the 94 crime bill is the best thing going. Just because the architect of it, Joe Biden, is now running for president, all of a sudden it's not that bad. We did talk about the FBI and the CIA, how these organizations were used to sabotage and infiltrate Black organizations, like the Black Panther Party, the Civil Rights Movement, how they went after MLK Jr. with, their surveillance or whatnot, how they would send informants to black organizations to tear them down from within. And black people are like, why are these government organizations going after black folks? Here comes Donald Trump. Hey, I'm going to release all the FBI and CIA files. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Now, all of a sudden, we're rooting on the FBI and CIA. FBI, CIA, I think we were rooting on the FBI and CIA to go after Donald Trump. So now the FBI and CIA is our best friend. 94 crime bill wasn't that bad. We're happy that we're upset that black men are getting their freedom from the system, from the DOJ. It's just, it's odd. I mean, Ari, that's just, is the TDS that bad? You know, same thing with this whole aid situation. I was told that aid is weaponized by Western companies to dismantle and infiltrate developing countries. That's what I was told. Aid was bad. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. You know, I was told aid was bad for the longest. Aid is no good. Again, Western companies, countries, United States of America, well, USA, use aid and they weaponize it against developing countries. And they give them all these bad deals and they use this aid, and the people of these countries don't see this aid. All of a sudden, Trump says, I'm pausing aid. Now, the aid is the best thing going. Why would you pause the aid? Aid is good. That's what I'm now being told, that aid is good, that we need aid. African countries need aid. After being told for years how bad aid was, how bad the IMF is, again, as much I was told over the years that aid is bad for African countries, that the people who need aid rarely even see it, how these countries weaponize aid on developing countries. Now I'm told that aid is good and we need aid. Help me out here. At least with China, there's infrastructure. At least with China, with their aid, they're at least building infrastructure, roads, airports. You know, even though I don't completely agree with it, it's at least something that's tangible. The United States of America, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with AIDS programs, but I think I played the video. I'm not sure if I played the video. I know we're kind of we're off topic a little bit. I'm not sure if I played the video on the stream yesterday, but I watched the video of South Africa, right? I think one of their AIDS clinics being shut down due to the cancellation of aid from America. And guys, I want to be very careful. I want to be respectful. But this is what happened. A prostitute, oldest profession in the world, goes to a AIDS office, not aid, but AIDS, because I think the United States of America has been very, influential in providing resources for those with AIDS. So she goes to an AIDS office to get, some HIV medication, and it was closed. And they said it was closed because U.S. aid, South Africa is no longer getting aid from America. And I'm just thinking to myself, shouldn't this be the responsibility of South Africa and its government? Not the U.S. tax dollars, the U.S. taxpayers' dollars, are the responsibility of the U.S. taxpayers? So the U.S. taxpayer is funding prostitutes in South Africa their HIV treatment. No disrespect, but I'm like, that should be the responsibility of South Africa. Meanwhile, Houston, Texas, from my understanding, and Atlanta, but Houston, Texas is like the STD capital of the world right now, from what I've been told. You can save a lot of that money just that you're spending in South Africa. And just do a wrap it up. Hey, use a condom. Use a condom. You know, the needles, the you know, crack, I don't know, the crack cocaine needles or whatever, heroin needles, whatever. Be careful with those. Use a condom, wrap it up. So you want the U.S. taxpayer to be responsible for irresponsible South Africans who don't want to use condoms. That's why you're crying about aid. I don't know. But back to Eric Adams. So Eric Adams charges are dropped, but he's not out of the woods yet, really, from what I understand. But just to see black people upset that a black man got off so far is crazy. And black people are upset. You know, that he got out of the clutches so far of the racist system. But I guess now the system isn't so racist because they want Eric Adams to be locked up. But guys, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in, please click on the link. If you want to call in, please click on the link. Again, link is in the chat room. Lion Champion, you're ready. You're more than welcome to call in. Everybody's more than welcome to call in. Click on the link, call in, speak your piece. Let me know why I'm wrong. Speak your piece. That should be handled at a local level, Alfred Buddy, not U.S. aid. Link is in the chat room. You're more than welcome to click on the link. If not, we'll close out. But let me play this real quick. Let me play this segment real quick. People being upset at Eric Adams being free. Go ahead, Alfred.
Hey, how you doing, Dynas?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Now you mentioned about funding prostitutes who are coming back with this, you know, the aid money, U.S. aid. I just thought that I thought global health was like you know, every country is trying to battle that. So like if you could prevent COVID from starting in China, you would want to do that as the U.S.
But they were funding COVID being started in China. If you see where the U.S. aid was going, it's going towards those laboratories.
Okay, so they were trying to stop it, or were they funding it to develop it? I don't know.
Well, I don't. They were indirectly helping develop it indirectly through USA.
Okay. I thought a way to combat it would be to, to help, spread awareness, give out condoms, like you said, and if you have some anti-retro drugs, to give it to the citizens.
I think that should be the responsibility of the local governments. The social services should be.
Okay. So they need to be more independent.
Exactly, because I was told that aid makes developing countries dependent on the West, which is not good. That's what I was told for the longest for years.
Okay. All right. That's it, man. I'm driving, but hope you have a good day, man.
All right, you too. All right, guys. Links in the chat room. If you want to call in. You're more than welcome to call in. If you want to call in, you're more than welcome to call in. Your link is in the chat room. Hey, Candace. Everybody, Candace is in the house, everyone. Give a shout out to Candace. Guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in. If not, we'll go ahead and log out. But I want to read this real quick. Just make sure I get my story right. Let me do this right here. So I'm sorry. As far as the Wuhan COVID, let me. This is the article I was somewhat referring to, but let me go ahead and read it. Just make sure we have the facts on it, because they didn't fund the actual lab. They stopped the funding that was going towards organizations to make sure that these labs are transparent. Let me read the article. Give me a second. U.S. aid-funded pandemic research failed to spot COVID or ensure Chinese transparency. President Donald Trump's effort to unilaterally wind down the United States Agency for International Development has sparked a heated debate about the agency's role in pandemic response. USAID's defenders cite its important role in researching viruses and responding to disease outbreaks. Department of Government Efficiency head Elon Musk, on the other hand, accused it of funding bioweapon research, including COVID-19 that killed millions of people. Did you know that USAID, your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research, including COVID-19 that killed millions of people? Here we go. USAID funneled $53 million to EcoHealth Alliance, which then used U.S. taxpayer funds to support gain of function research on the coronaviruses at the Wuhan lab, research that likely led to the creation of COVID-19. The CIA's deception regarding COVID-19 origins become much clearer. Let me bring this person on. Go ahead, Alan.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, bro?
Hey, I just wanted to say, man, you're absolutely correct, man. This this whole thing with Eric Adams kind of shows that people get their directions directly from Democrats and Democratic interests. We should be celebrating this guy is no longer under charges. His whole saga was very interesting. He started off as being pro immigrant, and then once the Republicans started sending people to sanctuary cities, New York City being the largest, he saw the fiscal crisis that could come, and he immediately went against it. Then the administration, the Biden administration, went against him, and then brought up a whole bunch of trumped up charges. It was ridiculous. I'm sad that it took him to go through that to see the light, but at the same time, these people who want him to suffer now, and are for the prosecution of a black man, a black mayor, is just a very interesting place to be, where black people are cheering our own destruction just for the sake of white liberals. This is really strange.
Right, exactly. Let me put the link in the chat room, but he's not clearly out the woods yet. I think I forgot. There's like something that's circumstantial that I don't know, but still, I hope the brother gets off.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy. He's just a guy.
He's really not.
He's actually pretty cool. He had to learn a lesson though, because he was for all the immigrants coming to New York City at first,
right?
And he was pushing that, and then when the Republicans actually pushed to send people to transport people to sanctuary cities, most of them went to New York City. And then he came out and then started talking about, forecasting a fiscal crisis that was going to happen about it. He was coming on like every day saying that, and the Democrats wanted him to be quiet about that, and he would not. Mm-hmm. So he saw what was happening. And it's like, man, we can't go on funding all these people. And so that's what happened to him. It's a damn shame. I would be inconsistent if I'm mad when Republicans go after some of our mayors and officials, and I'm not going to keep the same energy when the Democrats do it. It doesn't make any sense.
I think they're going to go after. They're slow cooking Fannie Willis right now here in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, they're going to go after her. Trump's not happy with her. They're going to go after her, and I'm against that. And that's Trump who's going to head that up.
I'm not, man. She has it coming. She had it coming. Like, I think the way she went about it, and then when she got caught up with Nathan Wade and all that shit came out, she should have just moved on.
Yeah,
she was just so damn arrogant and just her ego, and it caught up with her.
It did, but at the same time, do you feel like she should be punished for actually doing her job, which was she was assigned the case and told to prosecute?
But she wasn't necessarily assigned it. Like, she had a choice to prosecute it or not, for the most part.
Yes and no. That there were people higher up who wanted it prosecuted. She prosecuted the case, and actually, if you had to look between the case in Georgia and the case in New York, which he was convicted of, I thought the case in New York was flimsy, and I thought there was way more meat on the bone for the case in Georgia.
Yeah,
because of the tape.
And I agree, but again, she just met herself and her relationship with Nathan Wade just messed it up, and I think after that she should have just went on and moved on, but she just refused to.
It would have been a smart thing for her to do, to take the embarrassment and to leave. But they would have put somebody else in there, and they would have gone after them too. But you have to know that if you're going to go after a guy as powerful as Trump, that they're going to be people who are going to dig into every single nook and cranny of your past and present, and try to figure out a way to discredit you or get you off the case.
Well, what's crazy, they really didn't dig. The Nathan Wade's ex-law partner is the one that snitched on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's always going to happen. You can always find that person. Everybody has that one person who, if asked about you, would say something negative. We all have those people.
Right.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be true. It could be just from their perspective, on you and stuff like that. It can't be, doesn't necessarily mean it's generally true, but it is true that, you know, nobody's comes out with pristine to everybody. So I feel bad for her in that sense, but yeah, she is arrogant. Yeah, because anybody with sense would have known, man, let me get up out of here. But you won't do that, and you started going to church and preaching sermonettes and doing all kind of stuff. It's you know, it's a weird choice that she made. I wouldn't want any part of it. I would bow it out as soon as possible.
Hey, shout out to Alfred Bundy for the $10 holla on Venmo. I appreciate you. All right, go ahead.
I would about it, but getting back to the case in Georgia, I think there was way more meat. I thought the case in New York that, you know, was very circumstantial, and was and it's very weird that Trump got prosecuted for that. When I thought the more important thing was when Trump was calling a guy, election officials, asking him for more votes. I just thought it was clearly out of line, if nothing else. You know, so and they have it on tape.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't even deny he said that. I thought that was the case they should have gone after, because it would have stuck.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, now because of Fani Willis and her staying on and stuff like that, that case might not even come up either. So
no, that case is done.
Yeah,
the Georgia Supreme Court pretty much that case, the case against Trump here in Georgia is done. It's finished.
And that's a shame, because I thought what Trump did in Georgia was actually wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what he supposedly did in New York was a bunch of foolishness about paying off Stormy Daniels, and that was stupid. Really.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't lie about that?
Yeah. But it's all water under a bridge now.
But yeah,
I think, well, when it comes to these officials, he's going after. I know Fani, her day is coming.
Fanny's in big trouble now.
Yeah.
You know, and just as they were able to dismiss this stuff against Eric Adams,
mm-hmm.
they can bring up a case against Fani, no problem. Because if nothing else, it's obvious that she's guilty of misappropriation of funds and getting her boyfriend paid.
Right, exactly, and that's what they'll get her. As far as that,
that's kind of obvious.
That and not reporting it to the IRS and all that. So that's where they're gonna get her.
Yeah, she's done, and all for what, you know. And again, the audacity to go to church and start preaching and talking about it was it's the height of arrogance is what it was, because her whole sermon, they let her preach a sermon about her, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jesus, her.
But what does that say about the black church?
There's a joke. We've turned it into a joke. We don't take spiritual things seriously. We've made it a platform for people to go ahead and just use it for whatever purposes. If it were up to me, no politician would be given the rostrum during divine service.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason.
I thought that was the law, that you, like, if you have a 501c3 with a church, you can't speak politics. I thought for some reason
you can speak politics. You can't endorse a candidate.
Well, yeah, but that's clearly an endorsement. Like when Raphael Warnock and Joe Biden,
it's an endorsement.
You know, I mean, Joe
There's
Biden.
There's ways around it, but you can't say the official policy of this church is to vote for Joe Biden or vote for Donald Trump. You know what I mean? But you'll actually find more conservative churches directly violating that than you would find black churches, because they will flat out tell you. There was one guy who straight up told his congregation, "You don't vote for Trump, don't come back."
Oh wow!
so it got that serious, is that, you know, because he says everything that Joe Biden's doing is anti-biblical. So if you vote for that, then you don't need to come back here to church. So whereas most black churches and most churches with sense will go ahead and do it in a roundabout way, and will not endorse. But when you bring a politician there to say a few words and you don't bring the other, what are you saying? You know, you're clearly pushing for one over the other.
Right.
So that's how they get away with it. Jamal Bryant is a great example. He wants to he endorsed Kamala Harris without endorsing Kamala Harris.
Right. That's another one.
Yeah. That's what he did. You know, and I don't understand Raphael Warnock and how he's able to square some of the things he's endorsing politically while being a pastor.
By being a pastor, right?
I'm
that's
I
what
would love to have
I'm
a
saying.
conversation.
That's the thing about the black church. It's like it's a joke now.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't take it seriously. So nobody else takes it seriously. It's just a place that you allow people to show up every 4 years when there's an election and just come and use the rostrum, which is supposed to be for spiritual things.
Right.
You don't yet they don't go to synagogues. They don't go to mosques. They don't go to Buddhist temples because those people don't allow those people in.
Right.
And take it more seriously. And it's sad. It's sad, which is why I've been looking for a church, but I'm avoiding going to some of these black churches. Where I'm looking for something else that they're not willing to give.
Right.
So that's that.
Shout out to if Eric Adams was genuinely concerned with the migrants overrunning NYC, why did he go public and politicize it?
Because he had to reverse his previously held position. He had a position before where he was we are a sanctuary city, and he fell in line with the Democrats. Once they went ahead and shipped all those people to New York City and to other sanctuary cities, most of those people came to New York City. New York City was completely overrun with them, and he started seeing the numbers, and he had to come out in public and break down the numbers and explain why he was reversing course. So that's why it was necessary for him to come out and do it publicly, because he had to reverse his previously held beliefs.
Jay, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here. I kind of knew Eric Adams was going to get pardoned, and I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes more of a I wouldn't be surprised if he even drops his Democratic ticket, essentially. Because he went down. He kind of knew once he kind of got in with Trump, once Trump got in, he'd be saved from the prosecutions,
Right.
But he was a Democrat, and under Biden is when his prosecution started. I mean, they brought an indictment against him. It seems like he was taking bribes, from what I read on the indictment, breaking the law, essentially. And like the brother said, Trump calling down to Georgia and trying to pressure the elected officials down there. Most of them Republicans that ran that election process there. Clearly illegal. And other illegal acts, and he's going to skate from those too. So Eric Adams just made a play for himself to save himself, mean that he's innocent of the under Bob Menendez, Senator Bob Menendez. He was prosecuted and convicted.
Bob Menendez was a Democrat, right, or was a Republican?
To under Biden, he was prosecuted and convicted. I think Biden had a more of a hands-off approach on the because technically the Justice Department should be independent.
Technically,
yeah, and I mean, Biden, he said he had a hands-off approach on him. He let them do their thing. With Trump, it's going to be less so, in a sense. I think it's going to be more interference in that whole process. And I mean, personally, I think it's a bad move.
What's a bad move?
That, because nobody should be above the law. You know what I mean? And we know that as human beings, we don't always follow, that mantra is not always followed. Sometimes we give people that have money or power of some kind or influence of some kind a pass, more so we'll give a guy that's poor or has no influence and power and things like that, right? We tend to prosecute the people that have the power and the money and the influence less than we would prosecute someone that doesn't have that, right? But for society as a whole, I don't think that's a good thing. I think that mantra of nobody's above the law should be followed more strictly so that people stay within the bounds of the law, because if you don't have law and order in a sense, then you kind of have like more kind of anarchy, and no system is perfect, so it's not going to be perfect, but ideally I think that would be a better way to go.
Yeah, but what was Eric Adams was saying, like, who was the victim when he was charged? Who complained?
Well, this is the thing. I mean,
Same thing with Trump's whole refinance or whatever lost criminal case that he had in New York. Like the banks were like, he was cool.
well, first and foremost, right, on the Trump conviction, he was actually convicted of that in front of a jury of his own peers, right, in New York. That means there was evidence provided that the jury thought was substantial or enough to convict him on these charges, right? So there's a law that you have to follow, right? The law says
There was a jury in the New York case.
There was a jury, but it was the jury found him guilty of with the hush money for Stormy Daniels.
Well, I'm talking about the other case. There was a jury with the other case.
I don't think so.
So all the cases that came up on Trump, right? First and foremost, before they went to trial, they were in front of a grand jury, right? Even the one down in Georgia,
Correct.
The grand jury sees the evidence and says, hey, should we continue with this case, essentially, right? And they did decide, hey, yeah, this case is warranted. Let's move forward to the next step. When he was convicted in New York, he was convicted of 34 counts. That went before a judge, and it was a jury trial. The jury saw the evidence, right? And they said, hey, he committed a crime. Now, the crime, from my understanding, was not that he paid Stormy Daniels for the act. The crime was the cover up of it, because he was like, because the law says you can't, like, especially to win an election, say, right, you can't do things that.
No, that's not what happened. What he was convicted of was they were trying to say that he used campaign because it was a campaign money, that they're saying that it was some form of technically a form of campaign fraud, because he used money to pay off. He used what's it called, his lawyer there, Cohen, and then Cohen being willing to testify against him because he had to go to jail was what pretty much nailed him in that. But it was like, it was such a minor thing, not really. It wasn't as big of a deal that it shouldn't have gone. I don't think it should even gone to trial. I think the Democrats would have been much better off going down to Georgia and focus on that. They have a tape, right? And he's going to get away with that.
Now, this is the thing, because Cohen went to jail for the very same thing.
Correct.
Right? And what the argument was is that he could have paid Stormy Daniels, but trying to cover it up to influence his campaign success is where the crime was. You know what I mean? Like trying to cover it up and say, because Cohen took money out of his own house to pay Stormy Daniels instead of Trump just paying Stormy Daniels. Right? And then trying to cover it up so the people that are going to vote for you don't know that you're trying to hide this information from the public. So when they go to make the decision on their voting, how they're going to vote, they can't take this information into account. Right? So that's where the crime was. Now, that's just a law. Legally, it's a crime. Now, we could change the law and say, hey, that's no longer a crime. Just like you could say for Eric Adams, he was taking money. This is what's alleged, from foreign governments or foreign people to, like for one, they said there was a building that was supposed to be inspected. There was supposed to be a fire inspection, and if the building didn't pass, then they can't from foreigners, so that the fire chief would look the other way or to influence the approval of that occupancy of that building, right? Which is a crime. If now you could change the law to say, hey, you can take any money you want and influence any procedure, and that could no longer be a crime. But as it is right now, it's illegal to do that. Same thing in Georgia. It's illegal to try to influence an election official to lie on your behalf. Now you could change the law to say that's now legal. That might not be a good idea. You know what I mean? And for me, a lot of the processes were really like slow walked. You know what I mean? They were like slow walked. So I mean, the process of going to a court and everything, especially if you have money to tie it up in court and stuff like that, sometimes it takes a lot longer for it to be the process to be completed. And so now Trump is elected, and now he has even more power and more influence in the Justice Department. Things like that have rules that say, hey, you can't prosecute a sitting president, this type of stuff. So that's why some of these charges are dropped. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's innocent, right? But
well, it doesn't mean that he's innocent. I would say that the charges in New York were trivial. Most people do not go to trial for that. Most people actually would either have to pay the money back or pay a fine. I thought the entire thing in New York was just a show trial. And I've always wondered, why on earth is New York deciding to go so hard on this when at the end of the day, the thing in Georgia should have been way more alarming to people. It really should have. That they have the guy on tape on his way out, a president on his way out of office, begging an official in Georgia for votes to see if he can find some more votes.
That is not true, Alan. You using your own words as a narrative. It'll be the same thing if you said something on tape and then I turn around and put it in my own words. He wasn't begging and he did not say it the way you said it. See, I'm a fair person down the line. What he said was, hey, we need 1,491 votes, one more than what I need. See if you can find that. Those are his exact words.
Do you think that's appropriate?
But what I'm saying is that we're talking about truth and putting things in your own words. And a lot of times, black people are the worst with that. You get what I'm saying? I deal with that with my family. I deal with that with anybody I deal with is black. I'll say something and they'll be like, that's what you said. I like, no, that is not what I said. They were like, well, that was similar to what you said. If you change one word of what I said, that is not what I said. You get what I'm saying? And it just kills me when black people act like that.
Okay. Now that you're talking about black people, listen. What is it that I said that was inaccurate about what he said?
I just told you what was inaccurate, Alan HB.
You just admitted that he literally said, "Can you go find me some votes?"
Yeah, and that's totally different from what you said.
What? That's not totally different from what I said.
Okay. Say repeat, Dinus. Are you listening, Dinus?
I'm listening.
Say what you said originally, Alan B.
I said he said he wanted to go.
You said he was begging and asked for them to go get some votes. That was your exact word. Now you switching it up
for votes. Yes.
But hold on. Now let's deal with facts. You said that it's on tape that he was begging and he asked them to go get some votes, and that's not what he said.
I will listen. I didn't quote. I paraphrase and to say and by your own admission. If he said, I couldn't find some votes.
That's not the point that I'm saying, Alan HB.
If he can find me some votes,
hold on for a second.
Hold on. Y'all talking over each other. Let Alan get Alan. Alan, you got a minute. Go ahead and repeat everything you said. Then Toto, you can respond.
What
Please
I
don't
said,
interrupt.
exactly what I said, and I paraphrase. Yes, I paraphrase. I didn't do a direct quote.
Thank you.
I paraphrase.
I'll be quiet now. Go ahead.
All right. And the paraphrase was he was begging for votes. It's not a stretch to say that somebody who's saying, "Can you find me some votes?" which was his exact words, is not begging for votes and trying to get the man to find him some votes, which is highly illegal. That's not a stretch. That's not an exaggeration of what he said. That's what he said. I don't think it's
not
wrong
illegal.
to interpret that. I don't think it's wrong to
It's literally not illegal.
As
Diners, man. Listen, man.
You still got to let Ellen finish. She ain't finished.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How is it not illegal to call an election official who is tallying votes and asking him directly to find you some votes? That, I mean, come on. To get up here and make it seem like I'm lying or I'm exaggerating or I'm one of these black people exaggerate when you basically said, by quoting what he said, is something that could be very easily taken. It's the same thing as what I paraphrased. I didn't have a direct quote. I didn't claim to have a direct quote. Well, I would have been slandering the man if I came up with a direct quote and I was wrong in the quote. But I listened to what he said on the tape, the circumstance under which he said it, and I feel, and I still do feel, that he was begging the man for votes, and I thought it was highly inappropriate.
All right. Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
All right, Diners. If you call me and say, "Hey man, we working at Centos together," and you tell me, man, "Hey man, can you go on the list and see, can you find me some customers that might not be there that we already did a count?" You get what I'm saying? Does that mean does that mean that I'm begging you? Or are you begging me?
No, but hold on, Toto, kids, before you interrupt. So, can you call an elected official or an official that's head over the electoral process and ask to find votes? I mean, can you do that?
Yeah, you can. The thing about it, it's a difference if he's asking them to go make up to fraudulently put down some votes. What the thing is, see, this is the funny part about the case. You get what I'm saying? Because if you listen at the whole case and listen to the thing, what he said, he did it. Mark Meadows did it. Even the gay what the gay dude from South Carolina Senate did, he did the same thing. He told them to go back through, check and see was it anything that was like for us fraud or anybody that was voted that was not voted, and see if they can get excluded. And you want to know what other state did that? Virginia's the same state, and Georgia has. See, this is the problem with the people that don't know the Georgia laws. Georgia laws can exclude votes. They have a certain amount of days. Same way in Virginia. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's the same way when they tried to say that he did a quid pro quo with the Ukraine thing. It's the same way, Diners. I'm telling you for a fact. I can sit up here, go down there and press charges. You can indict a ham sandwich. You can indict anybody.
True.
But the thing of it is that what he said was he didn't ask them to go find some votes that was not there and make up some votes. It's a difference. So that's the part of it that the people wasn't agreeing with, because they were saying, well, what you think he was trying to say. So now let's go back to the original thing. So when Alan HB said, well, you know what, I paraphrase it. How about say that from the jump? Because that wasn't what he said. He said that I listened to the tape. So imagine this, Diners. Somebody say, I listened to Diners' opening monologue. In his first sentence, you get what I'm saying? That this is what he said. He was begging people to come on his tours. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If that's not what if Alan HB would have said, hey, I listened to the tape and I paraphrase it, I wouldn't have said a word at all. But once you put yourself out there, Diners, and you say these are Diners' exact words, and then you go to put them in your own words, I have a problem with that, even if it was Democrat or Republican. Yeah. And I'm just telling you that when I talk to people, it's always black people that talk like that. Like when somebody stated they were goddamn, Alan, can I finish?
Come on, let's not cuss at each other.
I'm just saying. I just want to get my 2 minutes in, if that's possible. You get what I'm saying? Without interrupting.
Okay.
I stopped.
I was given a minute. I took.
Hey, bro. Well, you was giving longer than a minute. You was talking before I got up here. So
Yes.
what I'm saying is that I'm not the person, and definitely people that's in business, you know, if you're not quoting their words, don't say you're quoting their words. So that's why the case was weak anyway. Now, so people keep saying that the case in Atlanta was strong. The case in Atlanta was weak. It was all circumstantial. And another thing that Alan HB said before I jumped on here is when he said that the higher ups wanted her to take the position. She's the attorney general, Dinas. She is the boss. So who's higher up that can tell her to do something? The governor is Republican. The governor is Republican. The district judges, the Supreme Court, the district Supreme Court in Georgia is Republican. So who told Fannie Willis to do that? She did exactly what most black women do: sign up to be a guard dog or a attack dog for the Democratic Party, and she took it on herself. The same thing as Letitia James did in New York. But I passed the mic.
You just answered your own question there. Then that's exactly what I was saying. She was put on by people in her party to go out and go ahead and take the case. It was an imperative. The whole nation was watching her. It became national news. There was pressure on her to go ahead and take the case. So that is the answer to your question. You answered it. Okay, as far as that's concerned. Secondly, I did not. You created a straw man argument when it came to what I said. Okay, I still interpret that as he was begging for votes. It does not happen where a sitting president calls down to a state, finds an election official, and asks him to ask for votes. It never happens. That's what it was very unusual, which is why the guy prompted the guy to go ahead and even record it in the first place. To sit there and act as if that's how business as usual goes, and that there's nothing suspicious about that, and that's not a form of begging or at least applying pressure, all right, on a much lower official to find the votes that he needs in order to pull out Georgia, which was razor close. That I think that's a bit disingenuous, to be honest with you. And so to come on here and say that I'm just somehow making that up as if other people can't leave here, go find the tape on the recording and listen to it for themselves, which I encourage you to do. And I'm willing to bet you that a good 90% of the people will say, at least come away and say that was inappropriate.
Which one is it? Is it appropriate or begging? Is it inappropriate or begging?
It comes across to me as begging.
Well, then that's how it comes across to you. That's called anecdotal. That don't even make sense. And then now you're pushing the goalpost. Now you're saying something that maybe another president didn't do that it was illegal. Earlier you said it was illegal.
That doesn't happen.
And you guys,
it doesn't matter. Trump can call whoever he wants to.
Now I'll rest with that. I think everyone heard that. Go ahead.
That's the thing. That's the one thing that people liked about Trump, Dinas, that he didn't do nothing, that he don't do things that most other presidents didn't do. You get what I'm saying? When he started having his conference at his businesses and all that, they was trying to press charges on that. Because he ain't doing it like the rest of them do. See, we get into this repetitive thing that we watch people do. And that's how they come out and they ain't touching the people. Got Donald Trump in 2 weeks have did more interviews than goddamn Kamala, Joe Biden, and Obama did in goddamn for 8 years. More public appearances. So yes, that's what the other ones did. He wouldn't sit there and the other president was sitting there and ask questions. They would come up to the podium, Dinas, say what they got to say and walk off. Or even just answer questions from a select few of people. But Donald Trump don't do that. At the press conferences. Most presidents don't come in there in the press conference. Donald Trump do. So now we sit up here and act like something that a president don't usually do and that now that it's highlighted, some type of way it's illegal, but it's not illegal. So now you don't change the word from illegal to suspicious.
No, it's suspicious and illegal.
It's not illegal. It's not illegal in Georgia.
Let me play the tape. Let me just play the tape. Let me play the tape. Hold on.
I used to let them raise my car insurance every year until I found this.
It's just not possible to have lost Georgia. It's not possible. When I heard it was close, I said, there's no way. But they dropped a lot of votes in there late at night. You know that, Brad. And that's what we are working on very, very stringently. But regardless of those votes, with all of it being said, we lost by essentially 11,000 votes. And we have many more votes already calculated and certified too. So I just don't know, Mark, I don't know what's the purpose. I won't give Dominion a pass because we found too many bad things, but we don't need Dominion or anything else. We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. I mean, having a correct, the people of Georgia are angry. And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated, because the 2,236 and absentee ballots, I mean, they're all exact numbers that were done by accounting firms, law firms, etc. And even if you cut them in half, and cut them in half again, it's more votes than we need.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, Dennis, you just heard that for yourself. Did it sound like he begging?
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Boomer Quick Take now for
I just want to hear if that's what y'all call begging.
I do. Yeah. When a sitting president goes ahead and finds a local Georgia election official, talks about how he didn't lose, and come up with numbers and stuff like that, and is basically talking about the people. You have the president of the United States literally applying pressure to a local official to get things to swing his way. And then President Trump, in a separate matter, went ahead and was angry at Pence about the same time for doing his job and certifying.
It's two totally different things, bro. You keep conflating, man.
Hold on. Let me interject real quick. So,
it's
Alan,
it's not one or the other. It's all of it in totality.
Alan, hold on. Well, Mike, Alan, are you saying that this is the tape that started this Fannie Willis case?
I'm saying that when he called that Georgia official,
that is the tape.
No, I'm asking, is this the tape right here that we just listened to?
That is the tape that is the tape.
Oh man, so you try to tell me that this is the tape that they used to
exactly, Dennis?
Come on, man. I never listened. This is the first time I listened to the tape.
Dennis, now before
this tape.
So Dennis,
hold on, Alan. So you're saying this tape is what was the cause of this RICO case here in Atlanta?
The foundation.
Basically,
my God! Oh man, come on.
The foundation, Dennis.
Yeah.
So hold on, Dennis. Now you see why I say they put these different words. They said that was put. You see how they use even. I don't know who Alan HB represents, but you can tell he using those talking points that those trigger words that I was telling you about. What the Democrat with CNN and goddamn MSNBC is using the word pressure. You get what I'm saying? It was nothing about that tape that he saw pressure. Because you want to know the funny thing, Dinus, that they don't play the whole video there before. Like, think about it like this, Dinus. I listened to the whole tape. The numbers that Trump was looking at, guess who sent him the numbers that they was discussing? The same guy on the phone. So he sent him the numbers on the papers.
Okay, hold on. So before I lose my train of thought, so Raffensperger sent Trump the numbers. Trump
Yes.
saw the numbers. Trump called back and said, "Hey,
Yes.
this is adding up. Is this is not pretty much this ain't adding up."
And then Rattleberger started recording. So thank you. So say this to me and you, Dinas. We go to discussing some business. I send you the paperwork, and I'd be like, man, these numbers ain't looking good for you, Trump, Dinas. You get what I'm saying? So they all by this. So let me send you these numbers. So then you get the paperwork and you look at it. You call me back, and then I start recording.
Right. Then I say, hey, is there any way we could find, is there any, okay, so basically, hold on. So you send me the paperwork, the numbers is off. I'll call you back and I'm like, listen, is there any way?
No, go back, Dinas. Go back, Dinas. You look at the numbers and you see so many absentee votes and people that was like, they got it all set up, the paper. You have to see the paper. It was set up with absentee votes, people that was dead that was still voted. You get what I'm saying? And they had how many letters they found? Because you remember they said they found so many letters dumped in the ditch or dumped in the one of the lakes in Georgia. He was using that as a barometer to say, well, shoot, man, you can say this, that, this. What I'm saying is that this is the case that it was Bradstone. So when you hear these Democratic shields, even if they ain't Democrats, you can tell if they don't like Trump or not. I'm a fair guy. You get what I'm saying? Believe me, if Democrat was speaking the language of whatever, I would have voted for them, but they wasn't. So I'm not a Trump fan. I'm just going by what I heard. And there's no way in the world that right there on that tape, it should have been the foundation of a case.
Of not only a case, a RICO case.
A RICO.
Yeah, man. I don't know, Alan. I don't know, man.
Well,
Alan,
okay.
Alan, I'll give you an example. So when I did sales at Cintas, if there was a certain number we had to hit and I didn't hit that number, I will go to my manager. I will go to the lady that keyed our accounts, and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm off by this amount. Is there any way you can go through the invoices and see if something was miskeyed, if we missed a number here, if this is miscalculated?" And they would say, "Okay" or "No." That was it.
But Dinas, this is very different.
I don't know, Alan. I don't know, man.
I'm being accused of being a Democrat and being a shill when I clearly stated up front that I'm not, and secondly, that the case in New York was absolute garbage.
Right. But I'm saying, but for this recording,
he's recorded talking to a local official,
right?
The president of the United States. Imagine we talk about disparities in power and all that kind of stuff like that. And I know that's kind of like woke talk, but still, he's the president of the United States, and he's calling you out of the blue and trying to get you to see numbers, and the guy's arguing back and forth with the president of the United States.
Yeah, saying, and that's fine, Alan.
I don't. That's your numbers are wrong,
right, Alan? And that's it. Then your numbers are wrong in a discussion. But for this to be the foundation of a RICO case is crazy.
Well, RICO is saying things in concert, right? So what they're saying is, and maybe it shouldn't be a RICO case, but it should have been. I felt that he was highly inappropriate, at the very least, calling that man and asking him directly.
Inappropriate is not a crime.
Oh no, Alan. I don't know, Alan.
Oh, bro.
Well,
yeah, you know what? You know what? When we was before you played the tape, did you see how many people in the chat that was against me? Did you see how many people in the chat was against me before he played it? And let me tell you something, Dinas. You see how Alan HB keeps saying that he's a local official? Brian Reichenberg is not a local. He runs the state.
That's a state. That's
not local, bro. That's the opposite of local.
A state-wide official is not the same as a federal official.
Yeah, so that's fine. Dinas, do you get what I'm saying, Dinas?
Semantics, fine. He's a Georgia.
It ain't semantics. It's not semantics.
Yes,
it's different between hey, Dinas. It's different between the people that local elections in Georgia and Atlanta, Florida County, Cobb County. He's in charge of the state. That's just like saying that the government Kim is a local official.
Hey, so check this out. Rathensberger. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Check this out. Rathensberger is a Republican. You know what I'm saying? The governor, right? all kinds of other Republicans ran in that election. No one else made the claim that the election was stolen from them. You see what I'm saying? At the end of that recording, by the way, that recording, if I'm not wrong, is over 30 minutes long, right? The guy says at the end of that recording, that the little clip that Dinus played, the problem is essentially your numbers or your facts, essentially something to that effect, are wrong.
Correct.
Yeah, I understand that, but for this to be the foundation of a RICO case is laughable.
I just don't get it. And you know what?
I get. I'm not denying that, JA. Like I said, I would do the same thing. I would go to my manager. They would go through the numbers. They say, "Hey, Dinus, listen, hey, it's not here, bro. Everything is T across, every I is dotted, and then that's it."
The point you're missing is you would go to your manager. You are lower. The manager is high.
You.
And you're saying, double check for me.
Right. Yeah.
You're talking about a federal official.
It doesn't matter how so you can't call a federal official, say double check for me to check the numbers, scrub the numbers, which is okay.
He has more power than a state official. You see what I'm saying? Now check this out. The problem we have here is that human beings, right?
Oh my God, man.
Justify anything. What do you have evidence for? In that recording, Trump says they have plenty of votes. In Georgia, they recounted, not even using Dominion, they hand counted either 2 or 3 times and came back with the same results.
That is definitely not true.
And
really?
This is only Georgia. By the way, remember, in Arizona, they did recounts. Trump and them.
They did recounts in Arizona. You're correct. They didn't do no recounts in Georgia. The numbers was what it is.
Trump and them even paid for their own recounts out in Arizona. Look up Cyber Ninjas. And when they came back, Joe Biden actually got more votes than was recorded. Like not a lot, but more. This was this is why the RICO was a thing, because it was not only that was the final thing he did. He pressured the state official, or tried to pressure the state official to essentially lie and say he got votes that he didn't get. Essentially.
So by that tape, you thought that was pressure. Yes. Oh my God, Daddy, you can tell, boy, you got some snowflakes up in here, bro. Because goddamn, I don't felt pressure before, and nothing about that conversation was pressure. Because the funny thing is, Daddy, the funny thing about it is, it was a setup call. Even Donald Trump's calls are recorded, so he knew the call was recorded.
No, the brother recorded. He was talking.
Bro, you're not listening. All presidential calls, unless talking to world leaders, are recorded. They keep them in the National Archives, bro. Do your research. All of the calls are recorded. It goes into the presidential library. That's why you can go to any presidential library and pick up regular phone. That's why they show you sometimes on the news every 4 or 5 years, they'll show you phone calls that people had with maybe those phone calls was not, it has nothing to do with executive privileges. Those are open public. You can go file for the information and get the whole conversation. But what I'm saying is that you're conflating 2 different things. You can't. This was a state. Let me explain something to them real quick, Dinus. You need to understand between a state RICO and a federal RICO. That's why what you just said, JA, don't make no sense. When you start talking about Arizona, let me explain to you why. A RICO's federal can be cross country, because when you're charged in the federal government, bro, I've been charged before. I'm telling you, it's JA against the United States. So that's every state. When you're charged with a state crime, it's the state of Georgia versus you. So they can't use anything outside of Georgia. Not one single evidence outside of Georgia. That means that Arizona would have had to charge them separately. So hold on, let me finish, because I'm just refuting what you just said when you start talking about Arizona. It does not matter. Y'all words, the words that y'all choose to use, y'all want to use these words like trigger, pressure. You get what I'm saying? Those are feelings that y'all use. That's the feeling, and I'm not gonna say y'all are Democrat shields, but these are the Democratic shield talking points: pressure, shield, and insurrection. And not one person, and not one person was, and not one person was charged with insurrection, pressure, and but they still y'all still throw out them words conveniently. Go ahead.
Hey, is my mic echoing?
Hustle
Go ahead, T. Khalid.
Yeah, I just want. Hey, is my mic echoing?
Go ahead. It's not just go ahead, T. Khalid. Go ahead.
Let me know, man, because I'll take it off of my Bluetooth if it's bad.
Take it off your Bluetooth.
Take it off. All right, hold on. You can skip me while I do that.
All right. Well, the only thing I was going to say is the president of the United States calling in that manner and grilling I want to say local, you say state, which is fine, but a lower official to help find him votes and came in with information that proved to be false is a form of pressure for the president of the United States to just call somebody like that. I mean, come on. I don't see how that's not pressure. Have you and you're out there talking about we're snowflakes?
You can ask the question and they can say no.
Had the president, can I finish, please? You've never had the president of the United States call
quid pro quo. If you don't do this, I'ma do this to you. But that's like me asking Dynas a question. Dynas, I need you to go find me some money off of this girl. If I don't give them or else, ain't no pressure. What's the pressure? Dynas could just say no. Bye.
For that.
You call it a day.
People go to jail for that all the time. I don't know what you're saying. Mob boss.
What was the or else?
Out actually committing murder just by being the boss and telling. That's what RICO is. You're the leader. You're benefiting from this organization. You don't have to get out there and say, hey, do this, do that.
Why? You talking about conflation?
Bro, what are you talking
about? This is silly. Yo, these liberals are just mad that Trump won, bro. And that's it, bro. And they are not independent. They are liberals, and they're mad that Trump won because they're not used to the conservatives, especially the Republican Party, and being alpha like this, having policies and kicking immigrants out. That's what they hate.
That's not. First of all, that's not true. Anybody who listened to me talk before knows full well that I'm fine with the immigration policy, and I'm not mad that Trump won. I understand why he won. I didn't vote for him. I voted for third party, but I understand why he won. Okay, so again, what you're doing is you don't like what we're saying, and which is fine.
No, it's BS. It's a whiny statement to attack Trump emotionally, and it doesn't work. We see through it. We're tired of these whiny nitpick things to stop Trump from winning or gaining popularity. It's all whiny.
If what you're saying is true, why would I then come on here say that the case he had in my home state was complete bullshit, but the case in Georgia, which he did not get prosecuted for, was the better case? That's the only argument I'm making. The case he got
if the one in Georgia was the better case, think about it like this, Dynas. If the one in Georgia was the better case, do you think Georgia is the better case based on the foundation of what you just played, Dynas?
No, I think it's a joke. I definitely.
I'm sorry.
It's all a joke, bro. How can these quote unquote intellects can't see that this was a setup to stop Trump from winning? Like, y'all really think liberals was really prosecuted because he broke the law? Y'all can't see the political implication of this, really?
I see the political implication. Again, if you were listen to what I was saying, you would actually see that I was saying that the liberals were prosecuting him in New York on a case that anybody else would have gotten a fine for. Anybody else would have got a fine for that.
A setup to stop.
And Georgia. It was all political. In fact, Trump would have never even been prosecuted had he not ran.
That's not true. He was prosecuted. Had he prosecuted before he even ran the second time.
So you don't see no correlation of this happening on the eve of the election.
None. They don't see none.
I do see it.
You're not dealing with dumb people.
Again, I do see it in New York. I think it's kind of obvious again in New York in the case that he again did get prosecuted in. The one that he did get found guilty in, I stood there and watched the whole case. I was like, my home state is tripping. That is not a case that he should have been possibly going to jail for. He should have either been able to pay the money back or got a fine for a couple $100,000.
Oh, we're talking about Georgia, bro. They all happened on the
but
fourth
the point
quarter.
is, if you were listening to what I said in totality, you would see that I'm not just here mad and just like you categorize me, just trying to go ahead and find something against Trump. I objectively looked at it and said the case that he was convicted for in New York was nonsense, right? But he's been found guilty of that. And the case that never came to be in Georgia was the better case than the one in New York. That's all I've been saying the whole time.
Dinus, you want to know the thing about it, how this conversation have evolved from Alan B. First, it was begging, then it was pressure, then he grilled the guy.
I never
You get what I'm saying?
grilled.
Like you did say grill, bro.
I didn't say grill.
Dinus, did he not say grill?
I don't remember him. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Then you said they was going back and forth arguing.
No, I didn't say back. You're complaining me with somebody else, but that's fine.
Bro, oh my!
Did you know
this is the thing, Dinus.
your own bank with the
The
right
thing about it is that if Trump would have did anything else, it would be okay.
And let me play this clip real quick. Hold on.
Are released of President Trump's unprecedented call to Georgia's top election official, leaning on him to find votes to overturn Joe Biden's win in the state. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jackie Bang.
And I'm Tamon Bradley.
The tape conversation Saturday captures President Trump's latest attempt to pressure a state official to reverse the outcome of the election.
There go that word.
The audio was posted online today.
In a tape call first published by the Washington Post, President Trump demanded the Georgia Secretary of State find enough votes to overturn Joe Biden's win in the state.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
One more you
Because
need.
we won the state.
President Trump badgers and threatens Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger with vague criminal consequences.
You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer.
The president also tries to appeal to Raffensperger's political leanings.
You should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
The pressure the president puts on Raffensperger is the latest example of his attempt to subvert the outcome of the election. For weeks, President Trump has attacked top Georgia Republicans over his election loss. President-elect Biden's senior advisor, Bob Bauer, reacted in a statement. We now have irrefutable proof of a president pressuring and threatening an official of his own party to get him to rescind a state's lawful, certified vote count and fabricate another in its place. It captures the whole disgraceful story about Donald Trump's assault on American democracy. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris reacted while in Georgia.
Have you all heard about that recorded conversation?
Hey, this is her black voice now. She doing her black
She's
voice.
the worst.
Yeah, she doing her black voice. She doing her black voice now.
Certainly the voice of desperation. Most
You better thank a union member.
and it was a bald-faced, bold abuse of power by the President of the United States.
Senator Dick Durbin called out the president's backers, saying his disgraceful effort to intimidate an elected official into deliberately changing and misrepresenting the legally confirmed vote totals in his state strikes at the heart of our democracy and merits nothing less than a criminal investigation. The president is unhinged and dangerous. The White House is not commenting on the tape. For the GOP, the political fallout could be enormous. Some Republicans are worried that President Trump's behavior could lead to GOP voters staying home in this week's Georgia runoff elections that will determine control of the U.S. Senate.
President Trump's allies in the House and Senate say they will object to the results of the elections in several states when Congress meets on Wednesday to confirm the Electoral College results.
The CFO wrote,
I
let's change
still,
it.
I still don't think it was worthy of a RICO case.
Hell no.
Yeah,
Like, let me start this off. Let me start this one off, Diners. Let me start this off real quick. By Alan HB logic is that anybody that Trump calls, he's putting pressure on them because they're under him.
No, I'll give you my logic. My logic is that given that it was a close election, and obviously you're calling a Georgia official in a state that you would have needed to win, and you're asking them directly for he gave 11,200 some odd votes, right? And we need this much. He's asking the man to find him the votes, and then is leaning on him, talking about his party. He's leaning on him, talking about maybe it could be a criminal thing for you. This is the president of the United States calling you out of the blue and saying these things. That is pressure. And I don't listen. It's kind of obvious from that last video that it was pressure. And at the very least, it was inappropriate.
Okay. So does that negate to illegal?
It could. That's why they
oh my God! It is no such. Let me explain something to you. Alan HB, let me explain something to you. I don't been to court 19 times, bro. And in no type of way, when they get in court, they talk about what could be or what should be. That's how information. That's how you get evidence dismissed. If any type of word or it could or it should or probably, maybe, theoretically, it gets dismissed right then and there. See, what you're doing right now, this is what you call the court of public opinion. So in the court of public opinion, you can say that. You can say it could be.
You're right.
But hold on, let me finish. Okay. So, but by the Georgia court statute, if it's not illegal, it's not legal. If it's not illegal, it's legal.
Hustle smart. When Fannie Willis brought those charges, by the way, it went before a grand jury. 2, they are using laws and statutes to bring those charges.
Huh? Hey, where you from, my brother? I think it's Boost Mobile. I think it's Democratic Boost Mobile messing up, bro. Because you can get anybody. That is, do you know how many people don't been indicted, got found not guilty or exonerated?
Right.
You can listen. What like these are. You can tell none of these people have been on a jury pool or whatever. Not a jury pool. My fault. A indictment jury.
Look,
so that's that. Hold on, Jay. Hey, let me explain it to you. I'm explaining you the difference.
Okay, man, give me a shot, man. Come on, man.
Do you know the difference between a jury pool and an indictment pool?
Check this out. I don't know the difference between that. But here's what I'm saying.
Got you.
Here's what I'm saying. You don't got nothing. Here's what I'm saying. Because
I ain't got nothing.
You Fannie Willis, right, is an elected attorney down there, district attorney.
She's the boss. Man, you got to do something about that Curry Goat Wi-Fi, bro.
Whatever you're using to bring the charges, they can't go to a grand jury or a judge and not bring laws and statutes and things like that to bring the charges. The grand jury says, hey, these charges are fine to go forward. The same thing happened in New York where Trump was convicted of 34 counts, right? It went to a grand jury first, then it went to a jury of his peers. So regardless of what you sit here and say, no matter how many times you've been to court, he was convicted in New York of 34 counts. Even if Alan HB thinks it's not a good charge, whatever it was, he was convicted. And in Georgia, they were using laws to bring those cases. Now, he could have went to court and won, but he could have lost also, right? They're using laws to bring the charges.
Bro, when they're doing a secret indictment, no, they don't. They just have to bring evidence. Listen, it's nobody else in the room but the prosecutor on a secret indictment, bro. in a secret jury. That's the difference from a jury pool. When it's a jury pool, you have your lawyers, you have the defendant's lawyer, and you have the prosecutors. So that means that my lawyer can ask them questions and the prosecutor can ask them questions. And then we can pick and choose from those pools. But in a secret indictment, it's nobody else in the room but the DA's office. That's how it's so easy to get somebody indicted. So, Dinah, just to get on topic for 2 seconds, you remember that guy that had the guy come into his bodega and attack him with a knife, and then the store owner killed him?
Right. Yeah. In New York.
You
That was in New York.
see,
That was in New York.
So clearly, by looking at that, everybody can tell that was self-defense. But New York
he got charged anyway.
He got charged anyway.
He got charged anyway because in New York we have really bad,
really
bad laws on weapons.
Exactly.
Project Exile was in place at the time. And Project Exile was just going to send in anybody with a gun up, up for any reason.
Right. But my point is that even though everybody else saw it in the world, nobody else agreed with the district attorney. But still, based on the law, not the evidence, Dinus, that's how you get an indictment. You only present the evidence when you go to court. They don't bring any witness. They don't bring any evidence on a secret indictment. That's why when you come to a regular court, then you file the motion for discovery. That's when you get the evidence. That's when you get the witness testimonies.
By the way, 4 people in that Georgia case pled guilty too, okay? Now, I don't know what you're saying about the secret indictment and all that, all right? What I know, it went before a grand jury, and they said, hey, look, we see the evidence and it's good to go forward. I don't think it was no secret indictment and all that. But
oh, my God. Well, bro, please do me a favor. Don't talk what you don't know, because it was a secret indictment. It was sealed.
Guess what? We can
bro. All I'm telling you, every time I refute what you say, instead of you acknowledge it, you just move to something else.
Guess what? I'm going to say something here. Guess what? We could go to Wikipedia. You could even start at Wikipedia. You can type in Donald Trump Georgia case, and you can read what it says there. You don't have to take my word.
What are you talking about?
You see what I'm saying? We can read what it says. Like, how did this thing proceed? How did it progress, right?
Oh my God, man. Listen. I appreciate you, Jay, because clearly you can tell you don't know what you're talking about on this case, on this. So I'm just gonna give you a pass on that. But what I'm saying is this. And then Dinah, you see how you try to conflate the 4 people that pleaded guilty? They wasn't charged with RICO.
They were all
the people that was charged. J.A., let me explain something to you, bro. You got to listen sometimes, bro. The people that was charged with RICO did not plead guilty.
Okay, Dinus, look up the Wikipedia article and start.
No, they took they didn't plead guilty, but they took a plea deal. Is that
right? But they wasn't charged with RICO. That was the lawyer. That was the chick and some more people. They wasn't charged with RICO. The people that was charged with RICO was the right hand man and some more people. All of them weren't charged with the same thing. The same way with the January 6th. All of them wasn't charged with the same thing. Some people pled guilty. Some people took it to the jury. So now the people that pled guilty, they trying to get their conviction overturned, because they did the same thing like they did in the RICO charge with Young Thug. When they said Young Thug pleaded guilty, but then the other 2 dudes got found not guilty. And they were saying, but you plead guilty. But what I'm saying is, in the RICO indictment, they was not charged. Those were people just they were trying to do the election thing, were trying to stop the election, but that wasn't a part of the RICO crime. The RICO crime had everything to do with the phone call. And the only people that was on the phone call was the 3-4 people. That was Mark Meadows, that was the senator, and even the senator called down there. The senator from
South
Carolina called down. And you know why he wasn't charged, Dinus? Because under the act of speeches is a speeches clause by the Senate, he wasn't charged. He was protected because he was in his office when he was in his office when he did it. Then some type of way they want to make it seem like the president ain't in his office, wasn't in his office when he did it. That's the part that didn't make sense. Because if anything, the senator from South Carolina should have been charged too. He called down there, but have you ever noticed that they never bring up his name? He called down there and did the same thing.
Hey, and let's shift back to the original topic, the Toto Kisser. So you know your boy Eric Adams, he's getting charges dropped.
Right.
And some black folks are upset. The same black
Democrat shields. They'll go by whatever the Democrat Party do because the Democrat Party lets black people complain. Why not giving them nothing? Why?
Well,
like the Democrat. Go ahead.
Well, I said we agree. We agree 100%.
So why the Democratic Party let 14 million Latinos come in this country? They let it be black girl magic and let black people to complain. And the orange man is bad. Now think about it like this, Dinus. You letting in 14 million in 4 years. Dinus, do you know how many black babies are born in the United States per year?
How many?
Off the top of your head.
I don't know.
562,000, Dinus. We ain't gonna hold on. I ain't gonna even talk about the abortions because we number one at scraping the box, pulling the baby out. My fault. It's called the embryo. What they call it? Some crazy ass another quote that they don't made up. But they letting in 14 million. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then black people, we're stagnated at 45 million. It's already 67 million of them. Already 67 million of them. And you got black people still talking about black and brown coalition. They 67 million. Why you don't never hear them saying black and brown coalition? But back to the case, for a fact when Eric Adams came through there and that money was piling up. Eric Adams is a logical guy. If you ever hear him speak, you ever hear him talk, he's not emotional. That goddamn Mohawk clown simp in Chicago, he's emotional. But he reminds me of my auntie Lydian. He reminds me of my auntie Lydian where he talk. Always about what aboutism. What aboutism? Anytime a grown man start talking about what aboutism, Dinah, I completely stop listening to him. Deal with the facts on hand. Deal with Eric Adams and did the numbers. In the beginning, he was all for it because the numbers was the amount of money was coming in. And then Joe Biden told him, hey, bro, just make it work. Because even then, it was allowed allocated amount of money that goes out to each state, and he couldn't send no more there. See, long as they was in Texas, Texas can deal with itself because Texas is like California. It can represent itself. But New York can't stand that type of people. They don't have the room. So, and now you have people out there letting the Latinos complain, and they saw that the money that they was believe me, he tried to come up with a plan. He said, okay, they're sitting up here feeding them. We're going to stop feeding them because these vendors are ripping us off. $5 or $10 million a week, right? He said, okay, let's give them food stamp card. He saw that the food stamp card wasn't working because guess what the Latinos started doing with the food stamp, Ditus? The same thing black people doing. They started selling them for cash.
Yep.
They started selling them.
Absolutely.
I tripped out when I came to New York, and they had the Latinos out there with a sign saying that the food stamp, they was giving you a better deal. They only wanted 40%. Black people want 50%. I just couldn't use it because it's New York, and I couldn't put all that food in my truck. But they got signs out there selling food stamps. So now he look at the numbers. He see that it's not sustainable for the fiscal year. That clown in Chicago sit up there talking about, well, we all the people are immigrants, and my people came here on the slave ship. What the fuck that got to do? What the fuck that got to do? I'm a school teacher. That is, when you hear grown men start talking like that, man, hold your wallet and run to your car and lock the doors. These are ultra simps, glorified mama boys, ultra moist sugar boys, that they will do anything for the Democratic Party because something in their DNA the DNA has them like tentacles on an octopus. You know what's shocking? That black men feel safer with the Democratic Party that let 14 million Latinos come in here. Telling people like them they using pronouns about them they URWHIMP, you know what I'm saying, hustle hard, hustle smart, all this stupid shit. Having you to the point that if you say the wrong thing, you'll get fired from your job. Like all this virtue signaling was going on. And so when they couldn't stand the amount, he stood up there and started complaining about it. He said, listen, I have no problem. I'm in a sanctuary city, but I need the help from the federal government. And the reason why he said that, Dynas, is because the federal government is the one that's letting these people in. So if the federal government is letting these folks in, you should be paying help subsidizing some of the income, and they wasn't doing. And he sat out there and said, I got the books right here in front of you. If you ever saw like Alan HB from New York, so I used to watch those daily or every 3 days briefing that he did, Alan HB. So I used to listen to him. I'm like, bro, this guy is speaking number of facts. He's speaking by the numbers.
Absolutely.
And then he said, by the numbers, we can't succeed.
Correct. We can't sustain it.
Go ahead, Alan HB.
He literally said this is unsustainable for New York. It says, and this will be a crisis for New York if we do that. It was a complete 180 from what he was talking about when he started in office. When he first started out, he was fine with being a sanctuary city. He was playing ball by the Democrats. When he broke ranks with the Democrats was when like I said before, when Republicans went ahead and they started busing all those people to sanctuary cities, and New York got most of them. And then he saw the numbers, and then he said, nope, this can't stand. And so then by numbers, he went up there and he changed his mind based on the evidence and the facts. And so I've always appreciated that about him. He was 100% correct, but that's what got him indicted. That's what got him indicted. When he stopped playing ball and stopped going along with all this migrant stuff and was agreeing too much with the Republicans and was cooperating with ICE and stuff like that, that's what then they decided the Democrats decided to go ahead and indict him. That's what happened to Eric Adams.
So what got Bob Menendez indicted?
I can't speak 100% to that.
What conspiracy theory we got on that?
I can't speak to that. What I can tell you is what I saw.
I think
with Adams. I saw that with Adams.
I think Adams knew this thing was coming down because before he got indicted, someone that worked for him got indicted. And that's when he kind of maybe changed his narrative. But guess what? Someone can be right on one thing and be wrong on another. So he could be right on, hey, look, the numbers don't work out for New York City. He's just mayor of the city, not the state, right? He could be saying, hey, the numbers don't work out with these migrants coming in for New York City. We don't have the money. Okay.
When you're mayor of New York City, you carry the bulk of the money for the state.
Yeah, all of them was coming to New York City. They weren't going to no other city. They was going to New York City.
I grew up in Rochester. They weren't coming to Rochester.
Right. I get that. 8 million live in the city. 11 million live in the rest of the state. I get that. But I'm just saying, here, check this out, though. Right? He could be right on that, right? But the indictment says he's taking money from foreign people to influence his actions in the city of New York. And so that's what the indictment says, right? Which is illegal. Now, we can stay up here and justify illegal acts, but if we justify illegal acts, we're going to get more illegal acts. And
what money did he take?
For the society as a whole. So,
J.A., what money did he take?
Huh?
What money did he take?
Look, read the indictment. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God, bro! As soon as black people start talking like that,
Eric Adams did not.
He did not take any money. What he did, you can correct me. You can correct me all the way from Georgia, LHB, if I'm wrong. Believe me, man, you cool with me. What they saying that he did was they saying that by the New York election donation, If you give a 5,000, I think it was 5,000 or maybe 1,000, then the New York commission, whatever it was, would match that amount.
Right.
Right? Then that's one thing. Then they said that he took a trip to Turkey or whatever, and then they found they were trying to find him a flight, and then they said the people that own the airline said, "Man, you know what? I'll give it to you for $10." He's like, "Nah, you know that's a little too much. He don't want it to look that bad." He said, "At least make it 1,500." You get what I'm saying? And then they comped him the rooms. So what I'm trying to say is that they saying that he didn't receive any money, J.A. That's the problem when you speaking like that, when you don't know the facts. When you don't know the facts, bro, respectfully, you shouldn't even talk about it. Because he didn't receive not one single dollar.
No. Eric Adams did not receive any money, man. It's not a conspiracy theory. You can look at the timeline of when he was elected, what he was saying, when they sent the people from the sanctuary cities, from the other cities to sanctuary cities to him, and then when he did the complete 180. The mayor of New York is a bigger position, the biggest position in the state of New York, almost, right? Even though the governor is above him, Hochul is above him, he is still he is the head of New York City, and New York City is an international city with making international deals. So him going to Turkey as the mayor of New York is not the craziest thing you've ever heard. Most mayors of New York take international trips. That does happen. You know, same way in the state of New York, how our mayor gets a mansion, right? How many cities give the mayor a mansion?
Right.
You know, it's a different type of position. So don't think of the mayor of New York the same way as you would think of, you know, like the little city I grew up in, Rochester, New York. You know, that our mayor don't get nothing, you know, but you know, this is an international position. They set him up. They made it seem as if he was out here being the most crooked person in the world, and you could see the administration turn on him in real time. As he was agreeing more and more with Trump. That is a fact, man. I'm telling you, J.A., that is a fact.
Tyler HB, they dug through the books and like, oh shit, look at this permit right here. Look at this permit. This building shouldn't have got a permit. It should have been more scrutinized. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, oh, we can pull this together and let's make the case. Let's make the case. This is stuff that they did back in the 1960s with the Chicago mob. We're going to lock them up and now we're going to build the case. Right. That's what they did. They charged him with something and then tried to build a case. They look at the flights. You get what I'm saying? Now, this is the funny part, though. If you get these big-time governors and mayors, what you think they speaking? Alan B, please inform the crowd that when you're a big a person like a mayor, how much do they get paid for speaking engagements?
Oh, they get paid thousands for these speaking engagements.
Thousands.
Yeah.
So they would try to. So say if that person get a permit in New York, they would try to say, "Oh, he came and spoke here, and he got paid this amount of money." That's how they trying to weave that together. So I don't know if you ever heard of Stretch Armstrong, J.A., but this guy Stretch Armstrong all wrapped around it. And it's a sad thing. And it's sad to see that black men that sit up there and want to see a black man fall. I tell you all the time, the only thing that black men are doing right now is sitting up here following behind these wig we wearing, wild hyena hood rat uppity twerk monkeys / husky hyenas, sitting up here propping up chicks like Big Booger Wolf, Stacey Abrams. You get what I'm saying? To be male, sit up here talking about they want to vote for reproductive right, which is another word for vagina. They just made these people sit up here and made a word for vagina and say reproductive right. You had grown ass men sitting up here talking about, well, man, you know what? I just want her to be able to choose to lay on her back and let somebody scrape scraping her fish box with a steel utensils. That's what we was up against. And then you got a black man that the only thing I don't like about Mary Adams, that earring in his ear. He need to take that shit out. But
let him rock his earring, man.
Hey, man, no, you gotta take that. You
let
gotta
him
take
rock
this.
his earring, man.
Hold on. Then he ain't rocking no good ones, Ditus. He rocking them gold balls, man. That's the one. Hey, LHB, those the ones that they give you free when you get your shit done.
Went to Pearson Road and got himself a gold ball.
Yeah, he gotta let them gold balls go. But what I'm saying,
leave his earrings alone, man.
but what I'm saying is that when a black man is standing up and saying, look, this is where we at. We ain't using no kumbaya. We ain't using no when Plymouth Rock landed on us, all this stuff. Then he's looked at as the enemy. Like when it comes to the husky hyenas, man, if you ain't sitting up here being a simp daddy, ready to risk your life, even though you got 6 kids and 13 baby mamas at home, if you ain't ready to risk your life for a random hood rat, then some type of way you're the enemy. And when you talk directly to them, you're being disrespectful. And then the Democrat Party under Joe Biden, it was all type of sweetness going on. Believe me, I ain't got nothing against gay people. But what I'm saying is that I work with gay dudes with my transportation. And I'm telling you, however gay they are, they don't act that way when we conducting business. They ain't running around with no 26-inch jacket, Peruvian wavy, natural silk, field body, Malaysian, extra wavy. They ain't running around here with no pocketbooks on, you know what I'm saying? With no size 16 Dolce & Gabbana clicking their heels. They ain't running around like that. So what I'm saying is you can be gay as all you want to, but when it's time to conduct business for one of the most important cities in the world, and believe me, Alabama, I'm giving New York its props. New York is more important than California.
Absolutely.
But you got a state like that where this guy saying, look, we ain't finna falter under my watch. And you know what the governor did, which is a Democratic governor? She said, I'm not gonna remove him.
Right.
Because she knew that what it was when she saw the payments. And the reason, and let me go what J.A. said earlier, I don't want to skip over his point. He said that somebody else in there was raided. It's because she was sitting up there in New York. You don't supposed to call as an official. You don't supposed to lobby for donations. So she was lobbying for donations. I found that out at the end. And she was one of his people. So they went in there and raided her stuff and all that. But at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with what he did. So when they made the case, why you think they stopped talking about it on MSNBC? Why you think they stopped talking about it on CNN? Because they saw what type of finance he getting. And you talking about the mayor of New York? Yeah, if the mayor of New York can fly anywhere for free. Because one thing about y'all in America, y'all sit up there and think like it's soft against New York and Detroit versus everybody. No, New York is the most important city in the world. And every other country knows that. So when he steps off that plane, he's just as important as the president.
I would say that when you talk about the mayor of New York City, you should think of him in terms of being a governor. I think he's easily the equivalent of a governor, both in population that he's controlling and just the stature of being the mayor of New York. Matter of fact, oftentimes the mayor of New York City is more famous than the actual governor of New York.
So this is the thing. I'm not saying that he can't go places, fly. No one's saying that. Karen Bass, who is the mayor of LA, she went to Ghana when the fire thing broke out after or whatever, or while she was there, right? So everybody knows you can travel as a mayor and you're seeking business all over the world, and New York mayor is very important. We all know that. That's not the point. The point is, are you, because the law is the law. That's the thing I'm on, right?
Well, if the law's the law, then charges got dropped.
If there is a law, follow the law. Now, if the feds or the state or whoever wants to bring charges against you saying you broke a law, right, then they need to prove that you did it. And if they can prove that you did it, then you should face the penalty for what you did.
Okay, but the charges against Adams are going
They're frivolous. See,
right?
J.A., you don't understand the definition of frivolous. You can, J.A., you can be walking across the street jaywalking and police can lock you up.
Right.
That's breaking the law. But when they get you down to the booking agency and look at the DA looks at it, they're gonna be like, oh, this is frivolous. They'll actually call the officer in here and saying, why would you? He's like, you broke the law. You can't do that shit like Judge Dredd. That's authoritarian, J.A., that you talking about. You're walking a thin line of authoritarian when you talk like that. Because if that's the case, then every black man that walking around with his butt ass out is against the law. That's indecency exposure. Indecency exposure is not having your Johnson out. It's indecent exposure. They can lock you up for that, and then you got to go to court and plead that it's frivolous.
And so this is what I'm saying. Listen, what I'm saying is I get that. And I get that people are not necessarily prosecuted for every legal infraction. But if you are for me at least, the higher up you go, the more of a power that you have, you should be under more of a microscope, in my opinion.
They are.
When you hold the people that are at the highest levels like more accountable, you're less likely to have issues in the society, right? Because they have more power and control over more people.
I agree. That's called checks and balances. I agree.
Like I mentioned before you came on, that sometimes in societies it's less likely that when you have more money and power, you are held accountable.
Right.
You know, likely that a poorer guy will get hemmed up. But what I'm saying I would rather it be the other way around. So I understand that every day we all do certain things that maybe not meet follow the law. We might be speeding or whatever, right?
Hey, Jay, let me explain something to you. I agree with LHB what he said before I jumped on here. If you get political parties start putting charges on everybody in the party, the Senate will look like a joke. You can't do that shit.
Yeah.
You can't do that shit when you're in office, and if the governor ain't saying what you want to say, you want to press charges on them.
Yeah, but
you can't do that. You can't do that. It would look like a banana republic. That means that every administration would start doing it. When you open up that gateway for that, you get what I'm saying? And the only reason why the Democrat did that because for some reason he started sounding conservative. And the way that black people, you know what I'm saying, and these uppity hood rats think when you talk conservative, you talking Republican.
Correct.
That's a
and he was only talking fiscally conservative.
You're making, because to me, I don't know if the facts bear that out. Because, for instance, Rod Blagojevich up in Chicago, he got convicted and sent to jail. He was the mayor.
He was trying to sell a Senate.
Right, exactly.
That's completely different.
But check this out. Who was the president at that time? Was it a Republican or a Democrat? You had Kwame Kilpatrick, right, up in Detroit. He got convicted, right? Mayor of Detroit, right? So this thing, people get convicted all the time. People get
but you're moving the goalposts. You talking about people that have actually you're talking people that got bribes and tried to sell a seat. This is what happened to Mayor Adams was 1,000% political. And on top, bro, J.A., let me explain something to you, bro. All I'm saying is that it was frivolous. It was frivolous.
From Jersey, under the Biden administration, got convicted, him and his wife, for taking money from Egyptians.
He wasn't convicted.
I gotta go, man. Y'all take care though. Thanks, man.
Just for the record,
we gotta close out in 4 minutes as well.
Just for the record, he wasn't convicted. This is second time being charged. Actually, the first time he got found not guilty.
Who was getting convicted?
He has not been convicted. He's been charged.
Who's that?
The one in New Jersey you're talking about, the senator.
If I'm not wrong, I'd have to look it up again. He was convicted. Him and his wife for taking money from
If he was convicted, he wouldn't be in the Senate anymore.
He's not. I don't think he's in the Senate now. I don't.
But what I'm saying, he just got charged. He just got charged last year. Federal crimes don't work that fast in within a year.
I think he's already convicted and all that. Last I checked, but the point is that happened under Biden. So my whole thing is, I'm just saying, if we're going to say that because of the migrant crisis they're going after Adams, can we say it's because of the migrant crisis they went after Bob Menendez? Can we say no? These things happen all the time. People break laws, public officials, and sometimes they get convicted and go to trial. It doesn't necessarily have because they did this, that's why this happened to them. You know what I mean? It's just that maybe they broke the law. What about that? You know what I mean?
But this ain't the case. And you're right about it. They did get convicted. You're right about that. But this ain't the case. Dana, do you know that in Georgia that if you put a sofa on your front porch, that's illegal?
I never knew. That's something new.
But what I'm saying is that's breaking the law. What I'm saying is all I'm saying is, you can't be that vague. Just saying breaking the law. There's over 365,000 laws on the books. Right. But it's certain is up to the officer discretion. It's the same way. It's the same way you riding on the interstate. If you go 1 mile over the speed limit, that is, you can put. That's breaking the law, right?
Right.
1 mile. So a police. They give you leeway, J8. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That even state troopers will give you leeway of 10 miles an hour. But that's what I'm saying. They didn't give him no leeway for what happened in New York. That was frivolous. They took what some happened and then some plane tickets. The fuck he needs a plane ticket for? Man, Adam is rich as fuck.
And I agree with you that we all break the law in some way daily. And I'm saying to you, and I think you agreed with me, that the higher up you go, you should be held to a higher standard.
So you think the higher up they go, they should be charged?
Because remember, they said that what the money did or the gifts or whatever he got, that encouraged him to get the fire chief to pass off a building that would not have passed inspection, right? And so that puts other people's lives at risk. It's not just
but how do they know that how do they know him getting a plane ticket when he got millions in the bank? You talking about 50? So you think a person that got so think about it for a second before Dinah's end the show. J.A. So you got $5-10 million in the bank, right? Right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
And you think that somebody give you a free plane ticket and a free hotel is gonna get you the sign off on a building?
So what I'm saying to you is, if he had
just answer that question for me, J.A. Just answer that question for me. You sitting on $10 million and somebody give you $1,500 to $2,500 worth of free plane tickets and hotels. That would convince you to do something against your job when you sitting on $10 million.
So I would have to read the indictment and see exactly what he got.
No, J.A., I'm asking you. But if J.A. had 10 million, and somebody came to you with $2,500, but that's what they had in investment. It was free. It was discount on plane tickets, discount on hotels. And then the campaign, they donated to his campaign, and then the campaign society doubled the money. They didn't give it to him. He didn't receive a dime.
Let me answer you this way. You know Warren Buffett is one of the richest people in the world. Got over.
Oh my God, man. Boy, you're the definition of pushing the goalpost, bro.
Over $1 billion, right? And this guy doesn't have to pay to eat when he goes to McDonald's. So yes, you can have a ton of money and still take something free.
Hey guys, let me we got to close out. Everyone,
that doesn't make any sense, man. I appreciate it.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time.
We gone.